Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. We are back with another one for you. So today we'll be digging into this very, I feel like, interesting movie. I read about how the budget was really low, and how the director wanted us to show us something different. And I've read so many people on these horror movie sites being like, nah, it's boring, and people say I couldn't get through 15 minutes of that and whatever. And I felt like, for me it was really interesting. For me it really worked. And the movie that I'm talking about is skinamarink, and it came out, and I felt like, okay, when I saw the cover, I was thinking found footage. Of course I was thinking found footage, but this is quite different. But if you're a person that actually loves found footage movies, I don't see the problem here. Like, I literally feel like you just had to be a little patient and just, pull through like I did. And you know what? I found it to be really, it worked for me. Honestly, I honestly saw what the director was trying to do. And basically, it's about two kids who, in the house at night, and the dad disappears, and now all the doors and windows are gone, and obviously they something weird is going on with the house. And when it starts off, we one thing that I appreciate about that movie is that the I don't know, the obscure angles. It's like me, when you're scared, you're not gonna look at the whole room. You're just gonna look at one spot where you think, oh, I think I saw something moving in the corner there, or I saw something moving. And that's what I appreciated about the angles that they chose. It's like a little kid in hiding places, trying to find the creepy little thing, trying to hide from a creepy little thing. Even when you can see the kids and then you can see their legs, or like there's a scene, a shot where you can only see their legs. Like, to me, that still represents me as a kid hiding in the dark, and like under the bed. When you're under the bed, I think that's the only shot that she can get. Like, that's the only view that's the only view I can see it from. So they try to shoot the movie in an instant that you're just a little kid in the dark, and how it feels like to be home alone, scared of the house and scared of the dark and everything. And yes, when the movie starts out, it's these two little kids, and Kevin falls, and then as he's falling, the dad actually reports it to somebody. It's Kevin and his sister, and they experience these supernatural occurrences where they see things, and things aren't there anymore. Their toys being taped on the ceiling and everything. And I'm not gonna talk about it like in detail, but what I thought the movie meant for me, because it's just like they go through all of these things, and dad disappears, and mom comes back distorted, and then they write 527 days, and then you can see everything is piled up to this long, never ending passage. Towards the end, you see that. And one thing that I want to say, this movie was meant to show you, get you a feeling of being afraid of the dark, not seeing anything really, and being a child. So as an adult, you're brave enough to get up and get a full view room. Like, if I was scared of something, I would get up and I'll get a few full view of the room. But because they're children, they want to look at little bits. That's why they had the camera shot in like these angles, and I really appreciate it. I felt like a little kid, and when I watched this, was I was uneasy. I felt like a little kid who is just in the dark, who is home alone. And yeah, and the only thing that you can see in full view, like fully, is just the television. And most of the things are just in these little angles. And that's what comforts us as kids. I mean, when you're home alone in the dark and you're alone and you're scared, what's the next best thing? Television. So people had so many interpretations about this. you know um some people said this is a representation of divorce. And because in the movie, Kevin asks about mom, and her sister doesn't want to talk about mom and where she is, and it's like a sore subject. And this whole thing where the monster is just endlessly torturing the kids, is just a representation of the separation and the torture that the kids are going through. Yes, it might seem like the house has a monster or an entity that can bend time and do all of these things, but people saying that it's a representation of a divorce and how things change and how things can be scary when, your parents are getting a divorce. And I think my interpretation is abuse. It's like you're all alone. Abuse feels like you're all alone in the dark and you're seeing life at little bits and pieces because you're mostly hiding. People are children that are abused are children that are mostly hiding. So my interpretation is that these children are being abused, and essentially dad disappears, and they're stuck with this monster, and it could be just a transition of dad being the monster and the mom, him her not being around is just her turning a blind eye, really, because it's like her being dead or her turning a blind eye, whatever the case is. And the thing is, in the end, it's almost like the monster has him in this house, and the house is isolated from the world, and it's just this beautiful, no, this is creepy shot of the house being like all alone at the end. And my interpretation of it is that they don't feel like other kids, they don't feel like they're normal anymore, nothing feels natural or normal, and they feel isolated. I mean, what's abuse without isolation? So and another theory that I heard about in social media was that they think Kevin is in a coma, of which I could really make sense of it, because she could be just in a coma and the dreams could be just dark and distorted, like that actually makes sense. But with the little sister being there, like helping him, that wouldn't I wouldn't support that theory, because when you're in a coma, you're alone in your thoughts, in your dreams, in your whatever it is. So I really think it's just a representation of the abuse, and the 527 days could be how long the abuse lasted, or could be how long. And the start of a movie is how it started with this incident, and it just escalated to where dad now. And like I said about that shot where there's like a passage, right? And there's this pile of things piled up on the passage, and the passage goes long, like it is infinite. It just shows you how messed up things have been. It's like how messed up things have gone emotionally, physically, or however way you want to describe it. And yeah, I think that's just the representation. Yes, the monster is in the house, and the monster probably took care of dad, and the monster, I don't know. Towards the end, you see blood spatter and screaming, and the blood spatter, like, disappears, and then it comes back and it disappears, just almost like they are being tortured for eternity, or they're being killed. The children are being killed for eternity. And I mean, there's many ways to kill somebody. You could kill them mentally, you could kill them spiritually, you could kill them. So this is the many ways that they die, forever and ever, while they're still in this house, and the monster is trapping them in this house. I mean, as a child, when you don't have a say in anything, you are trapped in a situation. So it could be just that. It could be them being trapped in this never ending cycle of abuse, mainly from their father, because their father was all in. Okay, the mother was in and out, but not really clear. It was like, but their father was mainly there. We could hear him making phone calls, we could hear him talking to the children. And then there was this one time where he asked the little child to look under the bed, and then the child did, and then the child said, I don't see anything. But when he got up, it's like dad had disappeared. Dad could have just transitioning into this entity, this monster that's abusing them. So yeah, I think that's my ending explained. That is my what that is how I see the movie. That is my opinion, and I've heard opinions of other people. I guess they chose not to do I chose not to do like a frame by frame, like with all these my other ending explains or my reviews, because I felt like it wouldn't have done justice. I mean, like, honestly, that you cannot, like, you have to watch this movie for yourself if you haven't watched it. And I swear I swear to you, like, you need to give it a moment. You need to give it, like, just give it a chance. Like I said, if you like found footage, then I don't know what the hell is your problem is, because you don't watch VHS and Paranormal Activity. It's something like that with a little less people and a little less, you know, anything. But yes, that was my ending explained, and that was my digging into it. Can I just hear from you guys? Can you leave your comments? Can we, like, have a conversation about skinamarink? I think it was pretty impressive. I think for I think they did well with the budget that they had, and it was just unsettling for me. I think it had, literally, I didn't feel scared. I felt uneasy. I couldn't describe it to you. I just felt uneasy, and I felt like a little anxious. And then with other movies, I always feel the suspense. I am disgusted at the gore. I watched Terrifier 2. I'm like, ew. And then, with other movies, like, was it? But with this one, it was deep, and the feeling that I had, it was just different. And I have to say, like, it was just such a masterpiece. Like, the way they did it, it felt really unsettling. And yeah, like I said, and you leave your comments down below. Let's have a conversation. All my subscribers, all 61 of you, about this. You can, if you liked it, you can give me a thumbs up. If you don't agree, you can just tell me where I went wrong. And yeah, man, you are on Room for Rewinds, and this has been incredible sitting here, with you, having a conversation with you. And I will check you on my next video. Goodbye. Next time on Room for Rewinds. It's called Infinity Pool. Oh my god, it is such a mind. I almost said a swear word.